Tokyo, Japan. My name is Gary Verheller, and I'll be your host for what we call the Substantive Living Podcast. Today, we'll look at what we call life's lessons. And I hope this will provide you with some insight, maybe even some inspiration to life's challenges. Hello, and welcome to episode 64, entitled Transitions, Internal. Transition means that you're going from one situation into a new situation, usually. And there are three key stressors that are directly related to transitions. Three key stressors in life that can cause the greatest amount of stress. One, change where you live. Two, change your job. And three, lose a person who is important in your life. So that would seem rather logical. Let's look how this works out in real life. For example, changing where you live. This can be something as simple, if you're living in an apartment complex, of changing, going from your apartment to the apartment across the hall. Even that simple change, you're still in the same building, you're still at the same address essentially, but that change will be dramatic. It will have an impact, and it will take you time to adjust to that change. It can cause you stress, particularly, for example, you wake up at night and you have different configuration of your apartment, and the sunlight is different. All of these things contribute to stress. Changing your job certainly can cause stress, heavy-duty stress. And that requires preparation to make that change. And we're going to talk about that. The last one is person, losing a person that means a lot to you in your life. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean death. Of course, it includes people who die, and that can be very traumatic. It also means, let's say that you have a new job in a different city or even a different country. That carries the trifecta. When you have a new job that will take you into a new city or into a new country. Because right away, you're changing where you live. You're changing your job, what you do, new people, new office, and you're losing your friends. Now, you won't lose them, they won't be dying, but you won't have the same connection you had with them when you were living in the old place. Those three things can cause a big amount of stress in one's life. And what this can lead to is worry and self-doubt and anxiousness. Now, all of that is good. And when I tell this to people, what are you talking about? Worry, anxiety, and self-doubt. Why is that good? Because that's an indication you want something better in your life. The key is determining what it is you want and then working towards that. So what do you do to handle these three stressors, the transition, internally for yourself? One is something I've talked about before, and it's called, thanks to Dr. Reynolds and Ron Madsen and Patricia Ryan Madison, they taught me about checking reality. What does that mean? When you have self-doubt, when you worry, when you're anxious, you can go to your friends. And before you do that, check the pros and cons of what you're doing. Check the good points and bad points. Check the advantages and disadvantages. See what you can come up with. Then, check what you thought with reality. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to people that you respect, people that you work with. Talk to people and get their perspective. That brings you back to reality. Because sometimes we're blinded because of the stress. So the most important thing is to determine, once you gather the data from reality, determine what the right thing for you to do is for you. What do you need to do? And I'll leave you with this last thought that I'd really like you to rethink about later on. Life is change. I know that sounds a little dramatic and a little over the top, and yet it's so true. Life is change. You are different right now compared to when we started this episode. You've listened to some new ideas, you've thought about this, you have changed. Even a minuscule amount, you've changed. So, every day, we change. Life, therefore, is change, so it's a chance to learn about yourself and about your reality. Life is a chance to improve. Change can be an adventure. So when you're having to go through a transition, it can be stressful. It can be difficult. And that's good, because that is making you see reality and making you consider things from different perspectives. And that can broaden your perspectives and improve your appreciation for what you have and for the opportunities that are coming your way because of the change, because of the transition. Life is change. Therefore, life is a chance to learn. Take the chance, learn, and enjoy the adventure. Thanks. Thank you for joining us today for the Substance of Living podcast. If you'd be kind enough to consider subscribing, you can contact us through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or connect on Twitter. Join us again next time for what I hope will help you navigate life.